Right, I think these may be mundane questions, but as we're basically aimed at the rest of the world, they're probably not aware that madness. Well, they probably are, but
they're probably going, "Who are madness?"
I mean, you broke up in 1986 originally. Why did you decide 92 was the year to get back?
Simply because there was a demand for our music. Virgin Records decided that they wanted to put a compilation album together of all our hits in one package. We'd brought out Complete Madness and Utter Madness, which were the greatest hits at the time, but there was no one overall album of all our hits. So they decided to bring it out. We heard about it, we got together, and we decided to do it properly. We wanted the tracks in chronological order. We wanted to be involved in the artwork. And the album went on sale, and all of a sudden people started buying it. I mean, truckloads were being bought. They couldn't go, fast enough into the shops. It was a real shock.
You say you were obviously surprised by the way it took off. Why do you think it did so well?
I really don't know. I think there's been a gap in the market for some years of just classic, true pop songs by the original artists that recorded it. Like, there's a lot of classic pop songs around, but they all seem to be covers. And there's a lot of people that don't necessarily get into acid house or house party stuff or the stuff that are played at raves, and that's what seems to be taking over the charts. And it's just, I think our music is refreshing in the sense that you can go away and you can sing the song in your head, and the band are always a good time. We always had a good time, and it was good fun, and we came across that way in our music and our videos.
I'll take you way back to the late 70s. How did you all get together in the first place?
Well, it was a bit of a mishmash. I knew the bass player, Mark, and he got into the band, I think, via their then lead singer, or was he the drummer then, John Hasler. It was all, mates of mates, and I was at the end of a long line of mates of mates of mates, and that's how I got in. But it was, I think, Mike Barson, Lee, the sax player, and Chrissy Boy were the nucleus of a band. And they were just friends that, played together in a small back room somewhere and, wrote a few songs and got a few mates that they knew and played at parties, and it just went from there.
It seemed to be an instant success from day one when the Prince went straight to the top 20, and I think it was 20 continuous top 20 hits. Were you surprised the way it just kept going and the way it took off so quickly?
We were surprised at the longevity of the hits. We really did at the beginning. We thought, we're just going to be like, a 10-minute band. We're flavour of the month. We don't know how long it's going to last. And each single, we were hoping it would do well, but we never expected the success that we got. So it was like an added bonus. The only thing is that after a while, I suppose, after about sort of 15 or 16 top 10s or top 20 hits, you do get a bit complacent. You get a bit numbed by it all. It doesn't mean as much to you. So having the break was quite good. So, having a top 10 album now is really exciting.
You're always well known for your videos. They seem to get bigger and more adventurous every time. Whose idea were they?
Well, it's a combination of everyone's ideas, really. Paul Dave Robinson, who was the head of Stiff Records that directed a lot of the videos, or who was there to oversee the direction, let me put it that way, had to get together all our ideas and make sense of them. And most of the ideas were really wacky and off the wall, and a lot of them actually came from being in locations at the time. We used to suddenly go, right, let's just do this, or we used to just clown around, and it used to just fall into place. But basically, we used to sit down, we used to get all the most crazy, stupid ideas we could possibly get off our minds onto paper, and then they used to get sorted out from there.
Did you think the image ever took over from the music? Because I remember there was always people thinking, what's their next video going to be like? Not worried about what the record was going to be like. Do you think the image sometimes surpassed what the quality of the music was going to be?
Definitely. There was actually a big problem with the band in the latter years when we wanted to be taken more seriously for our music. Especially in Europe. Europeans used to go, right, you put on your nutty suits now, clown around, it's all, smile, laugh, loon about, and every single day of your life it does get a bit hard, because I think the magic about the band was the fact that we were natural in that. We never took ourselves too seriously. And we used to muck about, and we were always easygoing, very approachable people. But it was forced on us a little. I mean, it was like a joke that backfired, really. Yes, it did get a bit much.
You kind of became the victims of your own success.
Well, exactly, yes. I mean, the nutty sound, you know, that whole label, the nutty sound, and the nutty boys became like a weight around our necks. But it's not that bad a weight to have, really, is it?
Were you always conscious to make your own image? Because you first launched on the two-tone, but that was just one single. Left the specials, the selector, all that come behind. And was it from day one you didn't want to be bannered as a two-tone band?
Yeah, that was only one stage in our career, you see. I mean, we did have ska-influenced music. I mean, people like Prince Buster and the blue beat and reggae scene, it was one of our influences, but we were also influenced by bands like the Kinks and Ian Dury and the Blockheads, and a lot of more contemporary music that was around at the time, Elvis Costello. And there was much more to us, and we didn't want to be kind of held down to just, you know, we are a ska band, because we weren't. We wrote a lot of music that wasn't at all ska. It just had those small influences in. What a squeaky door. But no, we did. Where were we? I've totally lost now.
Hang on, we'll get the teas are coming as well.
Hey.
Look at this, eh?
Okay.
Squeaky door, please.
Sugar.
Cheers.
I think wifey's just come in.
You're gonna sit down or bugger off?
Sorry?
What a lovely cup of tea.
I think we'll sort of scrap that question because I forgot what it was as well.
Okay, next.
Next, writing songs as well. A lot of them were straightforward pop songs. That's what we were talking about years ago.
Okay, yeah.
Straightforward pop songs. But there were some songs like Grey Day and Our House which did touch on more serious themes. Was it always an intention to do songs like that? Or was this the way it came?
Well, I mean, Grey Day was originally just a feeling, like a really heavy reggae beat and bass line. And I'm not sure which came first, either the lyrics or the music, but they just seemed to fit each other. The music, I mean, people wrote some gloomy lyrics and we just put some happy stuff to it. I mean, there's a lot of kind of more serious underlying lyrics that were written by the band, and happy-go-lucky, wacky music was put over the top of it, so you don't know a lot about it. Like Embarrassment, that's a classic song. That's all about how people didn't accept an illegitimate child from a girl. You know, basically she got up with a black guy, and they had a half-caste child, and it was people's attitudes towards her and her child, like, you know, we don't want to know you anymore, blah, 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 or that kind of bigotry. Now, that's a serious subject, but because the song was upbeat, people didn't take much notice of the lyrics. So, yeah, Grey Day... stop squeaking. Here we go. Right. No, Grey Day was just one of many of our, you know, different sides of the band. You know, we had many sides. It's just that people, when they look back, they go, "Oh, that was a bit gloomy." But at the time, it was just, you know, a good song that people enjoyed because it had a good chorus, you know, blah, blah, blah.
In Britain, it was absolutely a success story. How did it go over to Europe and the States and the rest of the world?
Well, it was funny. In Europe, they kind of caught on to the image more than they did the music. We were more well known for our wacky antics and our videos, and the singles sold quite well, especially One Step Beyond and Night Boat to Cairo, because they were more kind of instrumental more than anything else. And Dave Robinson, the head of Stiff Records, actually thought that Europe would benefit more from more instrumental type stuff. That's why we did Lost Palmer 7, because he kind of was going, you know, we need more one-note melodies, as he used to say. Really ridiculous sentence, but the Europeans liked us, but we weren't massive. I mean, we did all right. We were but we were taken more of as kind of a joke band, a novelty band, because of our image. America caught on later with Our House, which got to number 2 in the charts, but we didn't have enough follow-up singles to get the albums going, and we were too typically British in our lyrics and in just our style. They couldn't really relate to us. So we were more a cult band in America. We did very well, and a lot of Americans I've talked to, you know, go, oh wow, you were in Madness? Oh, I love you guys, you know. But that's about it, really. You know, we weren't massive.
In Japan, they really took to you there, didn't they?
The Japanese liked us, but then again, it was image. They were more into the image than they were the music. We went down very well there, but we weren't huge. I mean, they just loved the imagery, and we did a Honda advert, an advert for Honda cars, and they thought that we were kind of almost a put together band because we were so wacky and, you know, so funny apparently. So there you go.
Did that really bug you sometimes, the image, when it got a bit like that?
Well, it did really, yeah, because we were trying to get across the fact that, you know, we wrote really good pop songs and you know, good music that everyone could enjoy, and yeah, the image, people often just didn't take us seriously enough. They just thought that we were kind of throwaway comedy, where in reality, most of the band, in fact, you know, quite serious individuals, I think, sometimes.
It was quite an output because you never seemed to have time off. There was always an album out every year, a tour, and always a single. Did you actually ever stop in those 7 years, or was it just a blur?
No, it was a blur, and it was continuous, as you say. In fact, we noticed it, but there's nothing we seemed to be able to do about it, stopping, because the only advice we had was from managers that thought the best thing to do was continually keeping the light in the public eye. Record companies constantly said, if you don't stick in the public eye, then you're going to fade away to obscurity, you never sell another record again. And we've discovered years later that this is a complete load of rubbish. I mean, if someone like Peter Gabriel his last album he made in that was 86, and that's how long Madness had been split up for. Now, he sells millions and millions of records, you know. I mean, U2 go away for like 2 years to make an album, and they don't put it out until they're ready or they're right. It was an incredible strain. In fact, if anything, Madness, I feel, I mean, they're such an intense, fun, exciting band, but depend on energy. I think really we burnt ourselves out. I still think there was a lot more that could have come from Madness if we'd only taken time off.
You left Stiff around 85, set up your own record company, and I was reading that some of you seem to think that was kind of the final nail in the coffin. Was that a bit of a mistake?
Well, I don't think all our hearts were into it. I mean, mine wasn't. I wasn't really into playing the record company executive, sitting around listening to tapes and then making sure that my clients were happy, you know, if we did sign anyone. I just wanted to be a musician, get on with playing, and that was very admirable, you know, getting young kids to come through the system. I mean, The Farm, as an example, they used Liquidator Studios, which was Madness's studio in Caledonia Road. They used that for, you know, some time, which helped them, you know, put down some of their ideas and their music. And things like that we wanted to do. We wanted to help kids and not have the big barriers of, you know, having to come across big record companies before they were allowed to sign up. But it just became, you know, an expense, a big expense, and it took up a lot of our time, and it was just draining, and it took away us concentrating on our own music, and it made a lot of us fed up. I mean, I just wasn't really interested myself anyway.
When it came to I think your final album, Seventh, or Mad Not Mad, was that a kind of statement saying goodbye to the past and this is the new madness?
Well, it was in a lot of ways saying we are still Madness, but we're not mad. It's not, you know, mad but not mad. It's, you know, please take us seriously. You know, here's a finely polished, you know, wonderful album. But maybe it was a bit too polished and a bit too clean and a bit too contrived, really. Didn't have a lot of a heart that a lot of the other albums did. But then again, Mike was out of the band, and I think we've also learnt since that there's something magical about all seven of us together. Without all seven, it's not quite the same. I mean, I don't know, it could work in future, but you always find if there's one element of a band that isn't there, it affects it in, you know, a subtle way that doesn't make it the magic, you know, the magical madness.
Was the split in 1986, was it kind of, you all agreed this is the time that we should finish, or were you all bashing it out saying, I'm not working with you anymore, I've had enough?
No, it was the time to split up. I mean, when we finally had the meeting of saying, like, most of the band said, look, we just had enough, this is not what we want to do. Then other members of the band were saying, well, look, really, we want to go off and try something else, maybe. Really, everyone needed to go off and discover what it would be like not to have the other members around them all the time. To work with different people, blah, 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 It was the right time. I mean, we always said the day that we stopped enjoying it, we'd stop. So we did.
So did you all keep in touch in that 6-year period, or were you just...
Well, we sent each other birthday cards and Christmas cards, and some people kept in touch more than others because they, were lifelong friends. But I think generally we saw each other occasionally. It was really nice to see each other. We said hello, but it wasn't a big thing, It wasn't. We weren't, obligated to go around and sleep around each other's houses.
And then this year, the Finsbury Park concerts. It was obviously quite a big thrill to do them, but a bit nerve-wracking as well, I imagine, after quite a break.
I think it was about the biggest buzz that, I could have had anyway. I mean, it's just wonderful. It was all the things that you'd hoped Madness could be and have. It had the energy, which was lacking in the latter years. It had brilliant. I mean, it's just brilliant facilities, brilliant venue, brilliant crowd, brilliant everything. We were well rehearsed. We played really well, and we got on so well together. And we really began to, it was just, we'd been away for such a long time that we'd been able to recharge our batteries. Everything was fresh and new and exciting again. And that's all that we ever want, for it to be fresh, exciting, new and good fun. Because without all those elements, you're wasting your time. And that's what Madness were doing in their latter years, wasting our time.
The press were bunging around saying that the two summer concerts were going to be the last ones you do. They would just be one-offs. And now you're doing a Christmas concert tour. What's 93 going to bring? Is Madness going to continue, or are you going to take another long break and look back and say, can we actually carry on as a band with new material?
Well, I think the safest bet is, we actually learnt something from Finsbury Park. I think we actually did say, this is our last ever thing we're going to do, blah, blah, blah. But we're all human, and we didn't expect the feelings that we had when we did Finsbury Park. We didn't expect it to be so brilliant, basically. We didn't expect to get on with each other so well. And we didn't expect, actually, to start putting some new ideas together. And this is what's happening now. So I think the best thing to do is to be very tentative, very reserved, restrained about next year. Best thing to do is wait and see, because even we don't know, and that's the honest truth. We'd like, obviously, to see if we can work with each other, come up maybe some new material, but it's got to be good. It's got to be special and magic and different, and we've got to enjoy it. I think the most important thing, really, there's a lot of people out there with knives out waiting for us to make a slip. And as long as we enjoy what we're doing, we can't go wrong. That's the most important element of all. Even if, in other people's opinions, we bring out music that they don't like, if we enjoy it, that's all that matters.